You're listening to Bleeding Blue, a podcast by myself, Adam Cooke, showcasing and talking with some of the best athletic talent around Exeter. This production is an extension of my high school media along with other journalism that I do, which includes writing, reporting, and announcing. Today's episode is with Michael Borja, one of the most passionate wrestlers and students at Exeter. We talked about the upcoming season, recruitment, and more. I hope you enjoy the show. Friend of the show, Michael. How are you?
Good. It's nice to be on there.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
So, how does it feel going into your final year of wrestling?
It's pretty exciting. We got a strong team this year. Feel like I've really improved, but it's also a little sad as well, knowing it's my last time stepping on the mat for a high school team.
What has the sport meant to you and done for you during your time at Exeter?
It's really just showed me, how to act, be disciplined, respectful to everyone, and, how to grow relationships as well. Work ethic. It's really showed me how to just keep pushing forward through, adversity.
That's good for any sport. Have you had any other activities or sports that you've picked up over the years?
Not really. I mean, freshman year, I did lacrosse, but, I just kind of wanted to focus on wrestling throughout my time.
Yeah. Can you talk about how wrestling works in terms of how it's individual yet also on a team at the same time?
Yeah, so especially in the beginning of the season, we have a lot of individual tournaments, so each weight class will compete individually against, other wrestlers. But then kind of in the middle of the season, you'll have dual meets, so it'll be team versus team. So each team will send out their 106, they'll wrestle each other, and then depending on how that goes, how the person wins, you'll get a certain amount of points. So then you'll just keep going until, there's no one left in the lineup.
There's districts for singles, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever played in any of those matches?
Yeah. Last year I qualified for districts or regionals. It's actually called.
Got it.
Yeah. But I only went 1 and 2 last year. It was kind of disappointing. But, hopefully get back this year, make it to states.
How do you think you're going to be able to achieve that, keep building on what you've accomplished?
Just, working hard in the wrestling room, making sure I'm still hitting the weights, and then, after my practices, going to club practices after,
What club do you play on?
Stellar Trained. It's ran by Chance Marsteller. He's on the USA World Team.
That's cool. What is that, being on a club like that, able to do for you?
Yeah, so this past year I've really been wrestling a lot at that club, and it's one of the best clubs in the country, actually. There's multiple top 5 ranked guys in the country that wrestle there, so being able to compete with those guys and practice with them, just get their point of view, it's incredible.
Do you look up to any of those guys able to help you in your game?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I look up to Chance Marsteller, obviously. He's on the USA World Team. He's had a great, an incredible story coming off of drug addiction and then, really making his comeback. So I look up to him and, all the other guys who put just as much work in as me, if not more.
How do you think, at Exeter, the team overall is going to do, and how do you think everyone's going to achieve success this year?
Our team should be pretty solid this year. We have some really good lowerclassmen. Upcoming Kevin Oswald, our one freshman, Cole Forsyth, Richie Orfield, just to name a few. Cole Forsyth and Richie both went to regionals as freshmen, so it's exciting having them come back. Yeah, Kevin coming in as a freshman, he's state ranked already, so
I saw that. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
yeah, so we should be pretty good.
It's
And
awesome to have, though, yeah.
hopefully actually make counties this year, unlike last year.
Hopefully,
So.
yeah. How does counties work for wrestling? Is that a team thing?
Yeah. So team counties, we each team has 3 matches throughout the year, 3 dual matches. So depending on how you do in that, each division in the county will send one team, the best team from that division to counties. So, just got to win those dual meets,
Yeah. What about your game on the mat particularly do you think has allowed you to succeed as a wrestler?
So for the first 3 years of my high school career, I think really my pace and just hard-nosed style of wrestling has really helped me succeed. But this last year, I really focused on technique and just making sure I'm composed in matches. So I think that technique's really going to help me throughout the season be even more successful.
Do you think you still have some of that, like you were talking about over your first 3 years, the grittiness, the hard-nosed
Oh, for
mindset?
sure. For sure. Like, and it just comes in the room, You're just always have to keep on the grind, always, there's no break, so that grittiness really never does go away.
Where do you think you developed that spirit from?
I think watching the guys in the high school as I was, growing up, particularly Austin DeSanto, our state champion here, he never had an off switch. He just kept going and going and going. And, other upperclassmen like Nick Nettleton and my brother Patrick, they always just kept working hard and had that hard-nosed, gritty style.
Do you think there's been any major challenges that you've had to overcome while being an athlete or a student at Exeter?
As an athlete, for sure. Sophomore year, halfway through the season, I tore my meniscus, so I had to have surgery. It was a 7-month recovery. I didn't get to compete in that postseason, which really sucked. And coming back was even harder, Just, I wasn't the same wrestler coming back right away,
Yeah, for sure. So, what is it like going down for so much time? You said, 7 months?
Yeah.
That's tough. So, what does it feel like?
It was demoralizing, really. And then, you're coming back, and then it's kind of like you forget how to compete in your sport, how to, practice correctly. So it was just really demoralizing, and throughout the process, I was just like, man, this sucks,
Yeah. So, what originally got you into wrestling in the first place, and why have you chosen to stick with it all through these years?
So I started in kindergarten, and I think I got into it because my dad wrestled. He was a state placer in New York when he was in high school, and then my brother also wrestled. So I just wanted to kind of follow in their footsteps.
What effect is having a brother and a dad who have been highly involved with the sport? How does that affect you?
Well, they're always coming to me with advice, more technique, and just, they're always rooting for me since they know how it's like and, how hard I work. So it's really nice having that support.
100%. What kind of, do you have any memories that particularly stick out with you over your time at Exeter?
Really just playing a lot of dodgeball before practice.
That's fun.
Yeah, we always try and warm up with some kind of game to make sure morale stands up. So dodgeball is definitely number one up there.
So do you think having fun, bonding with teammates is always a good way to be sure you guys can succeed going into a match?
Yeah. Because it's a really sucky sport. You're in the room for 2 hours a day. The room's super hot, and you're basically fighting one another for 2 hours. So being able to have a good time and before and after that, it's really important.
On the mat, how have you been able to build friendships and bonds? Are there any that stick out to you? Some really close friends or teammates that you have?
I mean, yeah, like so some of my teammates are my closest friends and have been for years. Ashton Warshaw, Joey Henderson, Finn Strauss. We've all been wrestling with each other and been classmates since elementary school. But even my newer relationships with the underclassmen, Richie, Cole, Kevin, those are really relationships you wouldn't really have without that sport. And even my club team, I've bonded with those guys. I've built relationships I never thought I would have had. Grateful for that.
Is there a different type of chemistry between playing on club and playing at Exeter?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely closer with the guys on the Exeter team, because I've known them for a lot longer. We go through a lot more. I've only been on the club team for a year and a half. So,
yeah. And you see those guys every day. So, is it every day?
Yeah, it's every day, every single day.
It's gotta build a strong connection if you're seeing them that much.
Yeah.
What about Exeter do you think you're gonna miss the most after this year?
Definitely, I think wrestling is going to be one of the top things. Some of the teachers, grown close to, and, just all my classmates that I've been with since kindergarten. It's 12 years of relationships, just kind of going away. So,
what do you think you're gonna do past Exeter over these next few years?
I'm hoping to get into Franklin Marshall College so I can wrestle there. But if that doesn't work out, definitely pursue a pre-med track. And even at Franklin Marshall, I would pursue a pre-med track as well. Hopefully, go to medical school one day.
Yeah. So you've done a little bit of recruitment?
Yeah, I've gone on an official visit with F&M,
That's nice.
Not much really, but.
What is it like doing recruitment for a sport like wrestling compared to a more team sport?
I think it's a lot more different because, some players on a team sport, their flaws could be hid behind a really good team, and vice versa. A really good player could be hid behind a really bad team, versus where wrestling is just an individual sport. So if you're good, it's gonna show, So.
Yeah. In what ways do you think the Exeter community, the high school, your team, how has that all impacted you being able to wear blue 10 here?
It's just everyone in the community, they make me proud to be from Exeter, because, definitely during the summer we have practices and lifting, and junior high kids, elementary kids, they can attend that, and to see the commitment the wrestling community has specifically to the sport, and seeing all the parents always supporting their kids, it's really great to see.
What advice would you give to someone that's coming up and wants to be a good wrestler?
Compete as much as you can in the off season. Get to clubs and keep your head down. Just work hard. just keep your grades up too.
With the grades part, how has it been like being a student athlete managing both of those simultaneously?
For me, it hasn't really been that hard, you know. I'm pretty naturally smart, so I haven't had much issue with that.
Fair enough. So Exeter hosts two. Do they host two matches in January?
Yeah, we're hosting 2 matches.
And those are
this
close
year.
together, right? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
So what is it like playing in those home matches, considering they don't really come around too often?
It's really exciting, you know. All the attention's right on you. You have the big, giant light just shining down on you when you're in the middle of the mat. And the energy is just ginormous, you know. Even without, all the students there, there's so many parents and other supporters that show up, or just fans of wrestling that show up, and it just gets so hype and exciting, you know.
Yeah, the atmosphere there. I got to attend last year's match against Boone, I believe it was.
Was it home?
Yeah.
It was against Mifflin.
Oh, it was Mifflin, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, the atmosphere is pretty crazy. So those are always fun to attend. I'll probably be there in January when you guys are doing that.
Everyone should pop out. Wilson against Wilson. That'll be a good match.
That is good. What is it, when you're getting ready for important matches like those, whether it's important as a regional or important as something that doesn't come around often, like a home match, what is it like to lock in, prepare, and make sure you're gonna perform well?
Before every dual match, we'll have like a mini practice before, so making sure to get a good warm up in. You should be pretty much drenched in sweat before you're stepping onto the mat. That's what our coaches always say. So I think that's one of the most important things. Make sure you're locked in.
Are you a big music guy when you want to get locked in, or?
Not really. I just kind of try not to think about the match. I'm trying to, talk to my teammates. Just joke around, just try and be light, have a good time.
I get that, yeah. So, is there anyone that you think most has helped you, guide you as a person and an athlete, and gotten you to where you are today?
There's a lot of people I could name. From my brother, he's always been with me. He's been guiding me and supporting me since, I was born.
Yeah.
Our weight trainer Bob Nagel, he's always been there. He retired but came back. He was like, "Yeah, Michael, I'm gonna help you. We're gonna train hard. Coming back for you." Scott Baker, he's been with me since junior high. He's really been instrumental in keeping me going in the sport. So there's a lot of people I could say.
100%. Are you excited for the next chapter, going to college, possibly playing wrestling after Exeter?
Yeah. It'll be nice to finally get a change of scenery. And wrestling, if I do wrestle in college, that'd be really exciting to do, especially at a D1 level at Franklin Marshall.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I hope everything goes well with the recruiting past Exeter. It was awesome talking to you, so thank you. Thank you again to Michael for coming on the show, and thank you to everyone listening today. To stay tuned for more, hit the follow button wherever you're listening, and check out my website, adamcookejournalism.com, as well as my social media at adamcookejournalism. More episodes will be rolling out over the next couple of weeks, even throughout the holiday break. Thank you for supporting local athletes and journalism with Bleeding Blue. This is Adam signing off.